Want to win in business and in life? It all comes down to installing a simple base system. What's good? It's Rob Cressy, and the last 48 hours have been bananas in the world of sports, especially in the world of coaching. Seeing changes with Mike Vrabel being fired, Pete Carroll, Nick Saban retiring, and Bill Belichick moving on. And I recently listened to a podcast between Bill Simmons and Mike Lombardi talking about the success principles of Bill Belichick and what made him so good. And even though I'm a Steelers fan, I'm a student of the game of excellence and the best of the best. And there's a few nuggets that they shared that can help both of us design better systems for winning. And Lombardi has inside knowledge in this because he's worked with both Nick Saban and Bill Belichick and was part of the Patriots organization. And one of the things that he said that Bill Belichick does is he installs a base system every single week. And he starts very simply, and then he makes it more complex as the week goes on. And as I'm hearing this, I'm thinking about my own growth and my own business. And I was like, you know what? This is so foundationally correct, and it's how I live my life as well. So I think about when I'm working with people on elevating their personal growth or building their brand with podcasting. One of the things that we do is, and there's a quote from Ed Mylett, the bigger the dreams, the deeper the foundation. We start by building that base foundation. And the easiest way to build the foundation is to start very simply. So as it relates to podcasting specifically, so many people see the Alex Hormozis and the Gary V's of the world who are publishing multiple pieces of short form content every single day at the highest level. And they're like, I want that. I'm like, cool, we can go ahead and create that for you. But here's the thing. You want to build that foundation first. It's why one of the things that I've done to help thought leaders build that foundation is to get them to understand that there's 3 phases of podcast mastery. 0 to launch, when you're taking this thing from nothing to an idea. Then episode 1 to episode 20, that's where you learn by doing, when you go from training wheels to, wow, I've got enough experience that I can start considering popping wheelies. And then episode 20 to 100 plus is when you become a master and you've learned all the rules so you can learn how to break them. And it's why when I'm helping them build that base foundation of launching a podcast, I'm keeping it simple. I'm not having them do various intros, outros, calls to action, repurposing their content in short form. Of course, we can do that, and it's part of building an omnipresent brand machine. But the key in this is you say, you know what? I want to get my foundation so that I can execute and publish one podcast perfectly every single time. And the same is true when you hear quotes from Nick Saban about when they're practicing, and every single time it's like, listen, it's this play, it's this play, it's this play. Because it's how you do one thing, it's how you do everything, but it's also the power of consistency. It's also a standard that you create for yourself. When you've got that solid foundation, it allows you to build on top of it the same way that Bill Belichick would take something simple from a game plan and then make it more complex. And I would encourage you to follow this same framework in all that you do. Anything you want to learn, any area you want to grow in your business or in your life, let's start simple. Just yesterday, I did an hour-long talk to a mastermind group, and it was all around helping them hit their goals in 2024 and really create that emotional connection to it. And what I ended up talking about was the foundations of this, the solid anchors, the consistency practices of, 1, what would you love to create more of in your life, aka the design of this? And then number 2, what is your consistency practice? Because where so many people fall in this is a lack of consistency due to a lack of process, due to a lack of a solid foundation. And instead of trying to go from waking up at 7:30 in the morning to waking up at 5 a.m. and going directly to the gym, which so much of the world sort of preaches on social media, it's like, hey, let's do this simple. Let's add one positive habit for your morning routine. And then once you've created that, start stacking that in there. And the next level of this is all around what it takes to win, whether it's a football game, your business, or your life. And one of the things that Lombardi talked about was design and production. And this was relevant to football teams and game plans because you have to, number one, have the right design, both for your team or for a given game. And then number two, those players need to produce. So as it relates to us in our world of entrepreneurship and business and holistic success and living the best version of ourselves, it starts with design. And once again, on that mastermind call yesterday, one of the people who I was talking to said that they'd never really thought of lifestyle design. So I was like, how would you love to design your life? And she said, I don't know. And when you say, I don't know, it's actually a great thing because it's an opportunity for you to create more clarity. And one of the things that I quote most often is a book that changed my life, The Power of Consistency by Weldon Long. And what he talks about, and I'm paraphrasing, is he said, the reason most people don't achieve their dreams is they just don't spend enough time living in them. So as I'm recording this right now on January 12th, the majority of the world created a New Year's resolution. They didn't write it down. It was just in their mind. How many of them, less than 2 weeks into the year, have already thrown that to the wayside and it's a zero in their life? I would say if we're going to use the 80-20 rule, 80% of the world. And the 20%, hey, maybe they're going to stick with it for the next month. But you listening or watching to this right now, you are a 1% of a 1%. And what do the best in the world do? Well, we take our goals and we write them down. And why do we write them down? Because we can review them and create a consistency practice that we go over every single day so that our mind is more familiar with our vision and our dreams and our goals and where we are going. Because who do you think is going to be more successful and create their dream life in 2024? The person who thinks about a New Year's resolution and does nothing for it after the first 2 weeks, or the person who is clear on their goals, writes it down, and has a consistency practice for what they are doing to review it and keep it top of mind 365 times during the year. Because here's the thing, it is not challenging to open up a document in your morning routine, at lunch, or before you go to bed and read for 1 to 3 minutes what are your goals, your dreams, and your visions every single day. Because once again, this can become your base foundation. And for me, this is the start of Lifestyle Design 101. Because when she said, I don't know how I want to design my life, cool. The key to clarity is to start asking yourself, what would I love to create more of in my life? And more specifically, what are the most important buckets in my life? You could keep it simple: health, wealth, love, and happiness. Or you can start diving down even a little bit more specifically: your well-being, your exploration and adventure. This could be your finances, your wife or your husband or your children. This could be how you feel. The more intentional and specific you get with your design, the more that you then have an opportunity to build and design that base system, because the next level becomes the production. And in football, it's do we have the guys or not? In your life, this becomes the execution of the design of what you want. And we just gave the example on the personal growth side of things, but we can now move over to the business side in growing our brand. And about 2 hours ago, I was having a conversation with a client who is in the growth process of building their brand. They'd launched a podcast a few months ago and boom, they're feeling on fire for it. And they say, what's next for this? So now they're building their brand website and they're saying, what else is there? And it's like, all right, do you want to do YouTube, Instagram? Do you want to build out a newsletter? And all of these are like Lego blocks where you have the design of this, but you have to be able to produce it. And it was actually my note for them where I said, listen, we have all of these options for what you can do and create to expand and grow your brand. But the key is so many people get overwhelmed by the execution and they're not able to produce it. It's why I start by helping them launch a podcast simply. Boom, get to 20 episodes. Rob, what else can I do? Do you want to add short form video? Hey, do you want to build out a newsletter? But so many of us say, I want the podcast, I want the short form video, I want the newsletter, I want YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. I want to be doing lives. I want to be a speaker. I want to be doing all of this. All of it's totally possible. I'm just sharing from experience. It's taken me 11 years of doing this every single day to be able to build this system and process for myself where I can produce at this level like a samurai sword where I'm executing on all of this. And once again, to wrap a bow on this, it starts with building that base foundation. The bigger the dreams, the deeper the foundation. So my encouragement for you as we look at how you are going to win this year, number one, install your base system. Is this around your personal growth or is this around your business? Because then number two, what is the thing that you want to create or where do you want to win? Great. Let's build that base system simply first, because it is so much easier to go from simple to complex. You can't go from complex back to simple because it's just the reverse order and it's too challenging. Simple allows you to build Lego blocks on top of each other. It's how you build a brand. It's how you become a high performer, just one Lego block at a time. And the next thing becomes design versus production. I want you to think about your lifestyle design or the design of the building of your brand and your business, because the next part comes once you've got the design and you're clear on that. Cool. Now it's time to produce. Now it is time to execute. And this is where you and or your team have the ability to say, you know what? We've got this clear roadmap here. We can execute like winners and champions. So I'm someone who is a master of language. I'm always listening. And even when I'm listening to a sports podcast about Bill Belichick, a coach for a team that I do not root for, there are always nuggets of gold that we can all apply in our lives for how we can win in the game of business and life and thrive in any situation. And I would love to hear from you about this. Candidly, how would you describe your base system? Do you think simple to complex as it relates to putting these pieces in? Let's go to design thinking. Are you designing your life? Are you designing your business? And then what does the production side look like? You can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn at Rob Cressy. Sending tons of good vibes your way. Hope you have yourself an amazing rest of the day.